In today's video, I thought I would show you how I make the perfect negative space circles while using alcohol inks. The idea came from Miriam's Nature's YouTube channel. However, she did it in the reverse. I wanted the circles to be white and more of the alcohol ink showing. In order to make sure that the background stays completely white, I use the graphics paper, and then I just take my stencils and I draw circles with just a regular pencil. This is the secret ingredient. It is masking fluid, and I use the one by Winsor Newton. And I'm also using a silicone brush instead of a regular brush. I find that not only do I not have to throw the brush away after I use the masking fluid because it wipes clean, it also helps me get into all of those tight corners, and it helps me spread the fluid much easier. As always, everything that I use is listed in the description box below this video, so go ahead and have a look. Those are Amazon affiliate links, which means that if you choose to click on that link and purchase from that link directly, I will get a small portion from that sale at no extra cost to you. So it helps my channel and it helps you find the things that you need if you want to recreate this look for yourself. So I applied it to all my circles. I left some of the space without the fluid because I want those circles to kind of be connected. And then we have to just wait until it's all dry. I use the Holtz alcohol inks that I dilute with 99% isopropyl alcohol, and I also have my homemade gold that I use, which I talked about in a earlier video if you want to go check that out. I use 99% alcohol for this one because I wasn't sure if the alcohol would dissolve the masking fluid, and with the 91% it just takes just a little bit longer for it to evaporate, so I wanted to have that window a lot smaller. It turns out it worked just fine and the alcohol didn't dissolve the masking fluid, so next time I want to try the 91% isopropyl alcohol just to see if that gives me a little bit more time to work with the colors. This is a very small piece of graphics paper. It is a 6x6, I believe, and it worked perfectly. I'm also making sure that the colors are on the lighter side. I didn't want the piece to get too dark. But I do quite like this color combination. So every time I put a drop of the ink on the paper, I already have put down some of the alcohol ink. I don't show that all the time. It just kind of gets a little bit repetitive and I want to show you the fun parts. So when I work with the alcohol ink, I want to make sure that I have these overlapping corners and edges. They is really, to me, what makes the alcohol ink so special, is when those ridges appear and then the gold kind of settles in those ridges. Normally I would have used the gold later on towards the end, but again, I wasn't really sure if the masking fluid would work, so I decided to use the gold along with the color. Sometimes I did and sometimes I didn't. When the ink spreads like this and it happens to touch on the color that's already there, it will also drag some of that gold with it as it dries, as you can probably see here. I don't like using a lot of the gold. I think it distracts a little bit from the piece if there is too much, but I do love when it settles in the ridges, so just a little bit works for me. I also don't shake the bottle vigorously because then the gold is too concentrated. So I just kind of swirl it in the bottle before I put it on the paper. And that's just a personal preference. To me, that is what I'm looking for. Sometimes when I was working on this piece, I couldn't quite see where I had left the masking fluid because of the light, the way it was shining onto the paper and the angle I was looking at. So you don't have to cover the whole piece that's covered with masking fluid, obviously, because that's what's gonna get taken off again. You just want to make sure that you cover the corner or the edges of that circle with the ink, so that when you take off the masking fluid, you have an actual full circle, if that's what you're going for. There's just so many ways that you can create art, and I already have another idea that I want to do, including the masking fluid. I just think it gives it yet another focus point. And as you can see, I also use the hair dryer. Again, I really like how quickly the ink dries, and it does give me a better outcome, a better end result than when I do it with the airbrush. So I'm very happy I invested in this hair dryer. Here I just put just a little bit of extra alcohol on it without any ink, just to give it a little bit more of a wispy look at the edge of this circle here. And then I am done. I do want to leave some white space on the corners, the edges of the piece, just to tie it in with the circles. I give it a couple more blows of warm air before I call it done. And you can see where the circles are, they're nice and shiny. And now here comes the fun part. Taking that masking fluid off. It is so satisfying. Hey, leave me a comment down below if were one of those kids that put school glue all over your hands and then let it dry just to peel it off. Because I certainly did. It's so satisfying. You can't tell me it's not. Just watch until I take one of the bigger pieces off. So much fun. It also releases really, really easily from the paper, and that's probably part of because the graphics paper is plasticized. So, yeah, so satisfying. But also, I was a little bit sad because some of the alcohol inks that were on the masking fluid got taken off too. And those are always just very pretty, and I'm always sad when I have to get rid of it. Because look, that would have been such a cool space right there, but you can't have it all, and the purpose of this video was to create these circles, and so they had to go. I was a little bit worried lifting up the masking fluid by rubbing my finger over it because I was worried that I would smudge the alcohol ink below, but nothing happened, so it works perfectly by just rubbing your finger along the edge, and then that not rubbing alcohol, the masking fluid will come right off, and you can just pull it off. And if you do a good job bringing that masking fluid all the way to the edges of the circle and into the corners of where the two circles meet, you will end up with a beautiful round circle. And then you have some extra space to doodle in, which I will do shortly here. So this is what it looks. You can just leave it like that too. Works really great. For me, I decided to take the stencil one more time and outline all of those circles just to finish them up a little bit more. If you want it less harsh, you can just leave them like that, especially if you don't fill them in. But then I guess you really have to make sure that you pay good attention to where you put the masking fluid so that the circles are sharp. Now I'm taking one of the Faber-Castell ink pens to start doodling. And I just wanted to give this design another try. I have been having a lot of issues with this design. Somehow I just couldn't quite figure out how to do it. And I think part of the reason was also because when I watch people do it on Instagram or on the reels, it just is sped up so quickly that when I do it myself, I feel like I have to rush through it as well, when in fact they're not. They are taking their time and creating these lines very slowly. And so for that purpose, for this first circle, I decided to keep it at normal speed so that you can see how much time I'm taking to create the lines and this design. Is it perfect? No, but it's already so much better than the last time I tried it. And so in the end, I was actually very happy with how it turned out. It's just such a fun look. It almost, yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It looks like it's folded in certain places, And yeah, I really just like that look. I am also putting down a piece of parchment paper where my hand is so that I don't accidentally smudge either the ink or the black marker that I just put down. You can also just use a piece of paper, but I had some parchment paper lying around, so I used that instead. So with any kind of doodles that I do, I just have to remind myself to slow down and enjoy the process and not feel like I have to do everything in a hurry. I also wanted to mention that this design is not exclusive to alcohol inks. You can definitely do this with watercolors. It would probably look just as great if you are not into alcohol inks. If you know watercolor is your medium, definitely try it out. I would even think that you could, if you diluted acrylics, you could probably do that with acrylics as well. Maybe I will try it one of these days. I am just so into my alcohol inks these days, and I have so many pieces of paper already created. So I've been watching other people, you know, to see what they're doing with their creations, because you can't frame everything. Not everything is frame worthy, at least not in my eyes. So I have started making cards and even jewelry. I've made some earrings and some pendants, and what else have I made? Bookmarks. When you take just a small space, like an inch or a half an inch circle, and you punch it out or you cut it out, and it just creates its own little masterpiece, kind of. And I enjoy matching, like for example, when I make the earrings, I enjoy matching, you know, two that are similar but not the same, because that's what's the fun part. Or even matching earrings with a pendant. And yeah, so if you are doing this, don't throw away your papers. Don't throw away the things that you've already created. You know, when you look at it and you punch out or you cut out a small section of a larger piece, it's amazing what it looks like, really. So you can create something new with it, and that's what I've been doing. And I've decided that I will try and sell the pieces at an upcoming holiday market this winter, because I can't keep it all. I just can't, and I don't want to throw it away. So that's the next best thing, I guess. I have also found some of the white ceramic tiles at Home Depot, and they only had like 16 of those 4x4 tiles left that you can use as coasters. So I want to try using the alcohol inks on that, and I've been trying to thrift little vases, white ceramic vases, and dishes, other kind of dishes that I could possibly use the alcohol ink on, just to, you know, give myself another substrate to work with. Because paper is great, but you know, why not try it on other things? It's such a forgiving medium that it's really fun to use it on other things too. So now I am speeding up the video for you here a little bit, just to not make it too boring for those of you who don't like to watch through long videos like that. I get it sometimes. Sometimes you're into it, sometimes not. So, but you know, you can see the difference, and I'm curious to know if you feel the same as me when you watch these and then you do a certain style for yourself. Do you feel rushed? Do you feel like you have to, you know, hurry through it because you see these fast videos and they trick you into thinking that they can do it that fast? They can't. They don't. But you knew that already. Anyway, enough with the chitter chatter. But I do want to quickly say a huge, enormous, ginormous, gigantic thank you for all of you tuning in every time I post a new video. It truly warms my heart to see my channel grow, and it motivates me to do more. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, for those of you who always leave such wonderful and nice comments for me to respond to and to read, you are appreciated. Every little bit helps my channel grow, and with you responding or commenting and watching, it just makes all the difference. So with that, I leave you to the rest of this video, and I will see you next time.